How's Thomas?
Good. Shall we?
Shall we? You were concentrated. I was making sure you didn't get like bad news or something in the middle of it.
A few minutes later.
Fascist
Donkey!
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Common Ground Podcast, your favorite podcast. We're talking about your favorite format, Pauper. We're back, episode 49, joined by... I am Cameron Schindler, your co-host, joined by two lovely co-hosts. First off, Thomas, full of Pastor Gun. What's up, buddy?
That's true. I'm full of that good spicy pork.
It was good.
We got taco truck.
Yeah, we got taco truck.
It was so good.
Jealous.
It's delicious.
It was great. There's like 3 taco trucks like right outside my apartments, and they're all pretty fire. But one I'm akin to, so we got some of that, and it's cheap.
Very good.
So that's great. Also joined by James Hippo Hieronymus. How are you doing, buddy?
I am alive and kicking.
You said you enjoyed a half day, so yay, we love half days.
Yeah, went out and exercised my civic duty and went and voted.
Yeah,
yeah.
me too. Hope everyone listening in the U.S. Went out and voted today, or voted early.
Mm-hmm. I wrote in Jimmy Carter, so hope to see him back in.
He's at the ripe prime age of 100.
Yeah, perfect.
The video of him like watching the airplanes fly above his head. We were talking about
a husk of a man.
Yeah.
Oh.
What a good man though. Like he did.
He was a great person.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I know nothing about him politically because was not alive.
Yeah,
I mean, I did some reading. Well, obviously, I'm sure
you were quite knowledgeable about presidential history.
I do like presidential history. Actually,
I like the parts they bomb each other more than the presidential part.
There are some things that there were some parts of his administration that were great. There were some parts of his administration that were less than ideal, and it is good to know that he will not be remembered for his presidency, but he will be remembered for his post-presidency.
Yeah, like he built houses and stuff at like 80.
I built him when he's in his 90s.
Oh, okay, there you go. That's even cooler.
I was like, him and his wife kept building him in the 90s.
That's awesome.
When they're in their 90s.
There you go.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Bam, bam. So we got a grab bag of topics today, as always. But mainly, the main focus today is we're gonna go over one of the emails that we was foreshadowed in an earlier episode about like mid-range in Pauper. We have another email question that somebody was asking. It was cube related, not just Pauper Cube related, but cube related. So we'll get to that one too, as well as what was the third thing? Hippo has a review for us from Spotify. Take it away.
All right, I have a review from Spotify. It's from Lorenzo Biacci. It says, guys, I love your show. A big hug from Italy. Thank you. Much appreciated. But I cannot hold this in any longer. It's Kuldota, not Kuldotha. I was gaslit believing that I misread this name for like years. Well, my response to this is that I am a dumb and ignorant American, and I will probably continue to say Kuldotha as long as I'm here.
I think they're not mad that we're saying Kuldotha. I think we say Kadoltha.
You say Kadoltha.
I say whatever I want.
Because you're a dumb, ignorant American.
No,
and that's your right to choose. And
just
it's your right
like,
to say it however you want.
No, just in speech therapy, like entirety of grade school, there's got to be like some dyslexic stuff going on up there because I do it all. And I'm not like meaning that mean at all. No. Like genuinely think that just because like I always do that. Like my whole saying thing again. Like you like ride in a car with me and I'll like be reading signs or something, and I always just like if I see the first 3 letters of a word, I'll just assume it, and I mispronounce magic card names all the time. But yeah, that's my fault probably. I say Kadoltha instead of Kuldotha. Kuldotha. Okay.
Oh well.
I'll be better.
Oh well.
But we appreciate you listening.
No,
thank you for the review. Thank you, Lorenzo.
Love that our folks from Italy listen.
Yeah.
Yes.
With
jealous.
Like arguably the best, probably not arguably, just the best Pauper scene in the world. In Italy.
Yeah.
It's probably that's
I don't think that's
by like
particularly
size
by
or
like
skill.
A lot. Just probably both.
Yes.
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 The Italians are cracked at magic. Yes. Okay. Fine.
The Italians are in fact cracked at magic.
But Nashville has us 3.
Cool.
Cool.
Dotha.
Awesome. Thanks, Lorenzo.
Thomas, would you want to talk about first? Do you want to talk about that cube question first?
Yeah. Real quick before we do, we want to give another shout out. We've got a couple more weeks until our local trios event down at Game Night in Columbia. It's Saturday, November 16th. The seats are Legacy, Pauper, and Standard. So if you're in the area, Middle Tennessee, and you've got two friends who can play Legacy and Standard and you love Pauper, then come on down. It's going to be a good time. If we hit 20 teams, the owner, Steven, is going to up the prize pool to $2,000 and pay down to top 8 instead of just top 4. So,
and I'll add in there, too, if you're interested in this event and you can't find any friends or teammates or whatever, if you join the Nashville MTG page on Facebook and you post, hey, I'm looking for somebody to play trios with, I bet we can get you hooked up with some people too. Like lots of players in Nashville too. Yeah.
Or send us an email.
Yeah, or send us an email too. And if you're looking for players, that's a good idea too. We'll try to hook you up.
I'm sure there's some straggling people out there that we're looking for a team.
For sure. And either way, if you are not in the area and you'd like to see, kind of what some of our local scene is like, they're going to be streaming the event live on Twitch, and we'll have more information on that as we have links and whatnot for that.
Who knows? You might even get to see us play.
You might see us play. Well, if I'm on coverage, you won't see me play Pauper. But
wait, I don't know how they're gonna. I don't know they do that with like streaming trios on like.
They'll probably just pick a seat and then have that seat be whatever they want to see that round, because they'll get the access to deck list and they'll like, hey, I want to see this matchup.
Yeah, basically. That's fair. Like, so if it's like Gardens versus Gardens, we're not going to be focusing on that.
Nope, that seems like a terrible time.
Probably not, unless it's like they're like a winning in for top 8 or something like that.
Well, you probably just focus on the other match.
Potentially, yeah.
Well, you'll have time once you watch Standard and then Legacy.
I was like, we are certainly not the only format. There are two.
I don't really know how they're going to do it, but one thing I do know is that a special announcement. We don't have all of the details yet, but working with the same store, Game Night in Columbia, come January 18th, I believe is the date we're working with. We're going to run a Pauper event. No, it's not January 6th.
Certainly not.
He really wants me to make this joke. January 18th, which also happens to be the weekend closest to my birthday. We're going to be having at least a 1K. Pricing will scale up with attendance, and we three are going to be on coverage. We're going to figure out exactly how we're doing it. I imagine we'll rotate, so it's a couple of us doing every round, and I
we're going to be commentating.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
We're just not going to be on coverage the entire event.
Oh, no. We are doing the coverage.
That's exciting. I've always wanted to do that.
Yeah, so I think that's going to be a lot of fun. That one will also be streamed live on Twitch. I'm going to work with Game Night to get a bunch of like graphics and streaming stuff super upgraded and ready to go for that. I have plans to maybe splice in some like interviews with winners of different rounds or whatever, and I think it'll be a good time.
Last time I got to do coverage of a match, it was Thomas Gunn's winning an RCQ match
at TNLG.
Actually,
it's my very first RCQ. RCQ win. It wasn't my first RCQ I played. My very first RCQ win. That very first RCQ season.
Am I color or am I play-by-play in general?
It depends. We have to figure that out.
I don't believe in those heuristics anyway.
It usually just depends on which two people are doing it.
Right.
We don't need that. We just go off vibes only, baby.
Cool. But no. So keep an eye out for that. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Not to mention we've got a couple like our usual Game Cave monthlies. Weekend before that, weekend of December. Anyway, a lot of Pauper coming up. Very excited for that. So let's read this question. This came in from Elliot. We mentioned it last week. Elliot says, "Howdy, my name is Elliot. I live in Southeast Missouri." Doxed. Pauper is my favorite format, and I love.
Wait a minute.
Good scene over there, by the way.
Oh yes.
Is that
Southeast Missouri? That's relatively close.
Is that like St. Joe area?
I don't know Missouri as well.
I imagine it is.
I went to school in Atchison, Kansas, which is basically in Missouri. It was it was like between St. Joe and KC, if that means anything to you.
Pauper's my favorite format. I love your podcast. Thank you, Elliot. I started playing in the fall of 2023, so still very new. Also a teacher, and started a trading card club at the middle school I teach at.
Oh, that's so sick. That's awesome.
I built a Bloomborough Cube because my wife wanted to try Magic, and she liked the cards. You're not alone in that. I think that, at the risk of maybe treading into some, I think Bloomborough was really good at attracting kids and women into the game, which in a male-dominated game, I think that Bloomborough did a really good job of that, which is not to like play on any stereotypes, but I think it legitimately has done that.
Like we know that too. Like our buddy Jay built a Pauper or a a Pauper Cube and a Bloomborough Cube
Bloomborough
because his daughter was interested in the
Bloomborough cards.
in the art and stuff. 'Cause it is beautiful art too.
And now
I love
she's
that
like
art.
getting into playing. Like,
So, yeah.
that's super cool. And then they go right into Duskmore.
Let's just give you these cute furry animals into this horror theme.
The horrors.
Yeah, that is interesting. But sorry.
Anyway, sorry. Just something interesting that I thought was cool about Bloomborough. There weren't many decisions to make since it was a set cube, and I used a list straight from Cube Cobra. When making a cube, do you start with thinking about what each color will do, and if you are going to encourage people to build 2 and 3 color decks? Also, do you have a favorite Pauper Cube list? Thanks, from Elliot.
So I think first,
Should we answer that Pauper Cube list? I would just say, like, if you
Yes.
go to Cube Cobra and type in Pauper in search and sort by popularity going down,
actually-
there's a cube called the Pauper Cube.
Pauper
it's
Cube.
you don't even actually have to search it. It's actually one of the featured cubes.
It changes every month.
No,
on
I'm
Cube
no, I'm,
Cobra.
I'm saying this is one of the most searched cubes. So
Oh,
it's
yes,
literally
yes,
at the
yes,
top
yeah.
of the list of
Yeah,
cubes that
or-
people follow. So
yeah.
it's one of the more popular.
It
ones.
is in like the top 10 most followed
Yeah,
lists, too,
so
like you said.
You don't
yeah.
have to go that hard to find it.
It's called the Pauper Cube, and I think our friend Anna, she has that built too.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very popular list. The curators do like a really, really good job, like keeping it curated and balanced. Like similar, like there are some cards I think that are banned that are in there in Pauper, but then like still stuff like fall from favor, like the super busted Monarch tap something like that's not in there. So it's like not just like power max Pauper, like it's not like you're no sinkhole, no him. I'm pretty sure. So.
Actually, we get to draft this a little bit over the weekend.
Yeah, we did do a little team.
Two-bird.
We two-bird
style action.
We two-person that one actually. That was funny. I forgot about that.
This Pauper Cube is very much just doing strong things, like not having too many like crazy power outliers, but basically just doing strong things you can do with commons. But it's not necessarily emblematic of the Pauper format.
No.
Our friend Jay's cube, who his Tubert, which is a 2 to 4 player cube, his design is much more emblematic of our Pauper format and like archetypes that match the decks of the format, which I think is super cool.
Super cool.
I do love Jay's Tuber, but like again, this just all depends. We'll link both of them in the description.
Yeah.
It just kind of depends. It's like, are you drafting with 6 to 8 people, then go to that Pauper list or the Pauper Cube list. And it's like, if it's just 2 of you, like 2 to 4, our friend Jay's Tuber is super sick, and we'll link that in there and highly recommend it. And with 2-person drafting, you can like grid draft or Winston draft, and if you do some research on those, you can figure out how to do those. We won't get into detail on those, but there's lots of ways to 2-person draft a cube, and that's more fun with a curated 180 cube versus a big 360 cube.
Yeah. So getting back to the question.
Yes. So I think you want to decide first what you want your cube to look like. Like that is the number one thing. Is like, how do you want the thing to play out, and that will then determine like the amount of archetypes that you have available to you and the amount of space that each one of those archetypes is going to take, and that will obviously trickle down into like color balances and stuff like that, so on and so forth.
I bet Thomas and I have a lot of thoughts on this that we could probably spend another podcast series talking about. But just like briefly, I think there's like with archetypes, there's kind of like 2 ways to go about it. On rails and off rails is like what you hear mostly from popular cube designers. Like on rails being something you would see in like a retail limited set where it's like blue black is ninjas. I'm going to take ninja cards that say ninjutsu on them, and I'm going to take stuff like Spell Stutter Sprite that synergizes well with ninjas. And that's even like not all the way to like the far right of being on rails. Something even way more on rails would be like Infect, where it's like I'm only taking Infect cards, and now any like lightning or like lava spike is now not a good card. Like it's not that good anyway, but for example, like it's
Blasphemy.
I know, but you know what I mean. It's like I am so locked into this. I'm just taking Infect, and anything that says Infect or a pump spell, my drafting decisions are pretty simple. Versus something off rails, I would say more akin to like a Legacy Power Cube, where there's not a ton. There are still synergies here and there, yes, but there's not a lot of like on rails drafting where it's like in a Legacy Powered Cube, you're not going to be, I am the red-white equipment deck. I need a bunch of equipments and stuff like that.
Yeah. It's basically coming down to the point of, do you want to, like, it's really up to you where you want to start thinking about this, because if you want to encourage people to build certain types of 2 or 3 color decks, I think kind of like what Cameron is saying here, you want to being more on rails is like, okay, the gold signpost cards, like the blue and black cards are like going to be ninjas. Like you could have the rat from Neon Dynasty that gives your ninjas +1/+1. You could play Fallen Shinobi, which is a ninja, zombie ninja that if it hits them, you get to cast the 2 top cards of their library for free, which is really, really strong. Mm-hmm. Like you could have all of your gold cards be, this is what the archetype wants to do, and then flesh out your blue and black single card cards from there. Or what you can do, which is something that I recently have done with my new project, by basically just calling it the Thomas Cube or the TG Cube, where I took what I love each color to be about. Like white was very much about like Hammer Time in Modern with a splash of like Boggles enchantments and stuff. And then so the gold cards that are half white need to also play in that space as well in some way, in a way that fits with like red was like a burn deck for the most part. So like white and red together is like, is there an artifact creature that cares about non-creature spells? You know, like is there something that can play in that space? So I'm taking it from the space of what do I want each color's identity to be, and then kind of providing packages of synergy in the multicolored sections from there, and kind of letting people figure it out on their own of like, how do you want all these things to piece together? It's not quite off rails because like it's kind of in these packages, but it's certainly not on rails.
Yeah,
and
I think
it really just comes down to the preference of like exactly what James was saying at the start of like what you want your environment to be as a whole, and how you want how you want the gameplay to feel.
And the cool thing about cubing too, it's like my main cube is like a peasant cube, and it's like you have these ideas of how decks and colors will play out, but your players will do something different, and that will surprise you.
Yes.
So it's very important.
Yes, they will.
And it's important to roll with those things, too, because it's really cool. At CubeCon...
Looking at you, Thomas.
Yeah, and there was, like, a really cool... yes, that was funny.
Absolute savage
he
drafting the TG Cube.
He drafted 12 for inaugural draft of my cube over the weekend. My new cube, this that I'm talking about. Thomas Bitter, our dear friend we've mentioned several times. He drafted 12 they just prioritized taking non-basic lands. He had 12 of them, just threw one of each basic in. He had like the non-green 4-color Brea, like the commander Brea, and Archdruid's Charm, which
green,
green, all in the same deck.
It's funny because there was a game sequence where he went land on 1, land on 2, land on 3, cast Archdruid's Charm, turn 4, cast Brea.
Yeah, he did.
I'm like, what just happened?
And Urza Saga too.
Yeah, he had Urza Saga with no hits, with nothing to search for, and Igmont next.
And because I told him too, I'm like, let me know if you ever keep a 7. First game, Snap keeps a 7. I'm like, oh, okay.
He was having a blast.
No, it was cool. But I was gonna say, I saw like a really cool panel at CubeCon. I can't remember the person who's giving the panel. They're pretty popular Cube community.
Usman?
Yes, and I think I actually do not remember their name at all. They kind of had this picture of this university in Ohio, and they had these paths at a college. Like the college made these paths, but nobody used them. And over time, you could see on the grass where people were walking. So the college eventually paved those paths too. So like they saw, like as a cube designer, you see what your drafters are doing too, and you can roll with those ideas too. Don't be like stuck in your own ways.
Yeah.
And my last point on this, probably before we move on, start talking about some Pauper, is or Hippo, do you want to budge in real quick too?
Oh, it can be an afterthought.
Okay. Thomas, I think you and I have very similar cube philosophies, even if we like different style cards, different power levels and stuff. Where something on my Peasant Cube I'm really proud of too is trying to do pockets of synergy. Yes, red-white has an equipment theme, but that's not necessarily what a red-white deck is. I've seen red-white aggro, and you have a couple equipment that also synergize well with like Glint Hawk, because you know me, I love my Glint Hawks. I'm going to put that in my Peasant Cube too. And so I've seen like aggro decks that look like that. It's not necessarily red-white equipment, but it has like a little bit of that built-in synergy I want to coming through. So I think that's how I like to design cubes, is think about pockets of synergy each color archetype can do. Like I do have Ninja the Deep Hours. There's not like a ninjutsu theme, but there is a blink theme, and that is a way to get another ETB, is ninjutsuing your dude back to your hand. That's my last process or thought on that.
And my closing thought is take all the advice from your friends. If you've built one and drafted it, take the advice that people give you, take the criticisms that they give you, and then you can go further from there.
And if you draft,
because if you're able to change it from that point, you're making a better draft environment for everyone, and that's what we're all really looking for when we do cubes.
And you will, if you draft a cube with your friends, you will hear lots of critique. Don't always take it with strides too, because like if someone loses the card and be like, this is stupid, but it's like if it's me and Hippo, we played my Jund Tuber a bunch. It's like, yeah, every time I draft hop, I end up running away at the game eventually. It's like, then eventually I took it out because it ran away at the game every time.
Every single time.
Now let's move on to any other closing thoughts?
No, I think that was pretty good.
But
Yeah.
Good luck, Elliot.
But yeah, we'll have the quote Pauper Cube from Cube Cobra, and I think a link to Jay's Pauper Tuber.
Does he have it on Cube Cobra?
I believe he has it on something.
On something? Cool.
We
will get it from him.
We'll get it from him.
And a link to Thomas and I Cube because we're monsters.
Sure, why not?
But moving on, what was our main topic for today?
Yeah, so we have another question. So this is a question that we hinted at last week. This is from Chris. Hey, guys. It's Chris again.
Hi, Chris.
Hi, Chris again. Love hearing the Cube content from last week, which is 2 weeks ago now. Hell yeah. It was nice to see. I checked the stats too. People were into it.
Oh,
so
yeah.
That was nice. A nice little, maybe every once in a while. Every once in a while, maybe we'll take a little.
Like
anyway,
today.
wow, we're like off the rails this week. On a continuation from my last email, I went back over the deck because Chris sent in the Jund deck that you guys talked about when I missed that week. Yeah,
Correct. Yeah,
cool.
did you listen?
Yeah.
Did you listen to the episode?
Of course I
Oh.
did. Yeah, listen to it on our way to the RC.
Was it
in
fun
DC.
listening and not working on it? Well, like, was it fun just to listen to it as a
It
product?
was very fun
Yeah.
to listen to an episode of
Not
of
pause,
my
stop, pause,
podcast.
stop, pause, stop. Yeah.
Yes, it was fun to listen to put an episode of my podcast on and not know what the hell was about to happen.
Yeah.
So I went back over the deck and tried to make some changes to it, and I couldn't help but run into this question a lot, and I was hoping you guys could shine some more light on it. I've watched the history of Jund from Card Market like 5 times, and
Great
I
video.
still can't seem to wrap my head around it for Pauper. So I have to ask, what does midrange look like in Pauper? Thank you for all the work you guys do and for looking over my deck. Hope to hear more from you all in the future from Chris. Thank you, Chris. That's a good question.
So,
Looks like Pauper.
Can we just say Iker Wellspring and go to the challenge?
no.
Yeah, Iker Wellspring, Deadly Dispute.
No, so I think this actually comes down to every color has as a way to midrange in the format.
I like that. Break it into like a color
Yeah,
thing.
let's break. I think we can break things down by colors. Like these,
Cool.
Like these types of things are what you would associate like a midrange deck to be in Pauper.
And then kind of go over some specific decks.
Some decks and stuff like
Great.
that. So obviously, is what just got mentioned. It's like Iker Wellspring is like definitely a sign of a mid-range deck.
Want to get us into Wooburg order?
Yeah, we can do Wooburg order. So cards like so we'll start in white. Cards like Thraven Inspector, Novice Inspector, the package, the Glint Hawks, the core Skyfisher could not be a more symbolic of a mid-range card in Pauper than anything else. I think that card
agree.
literally is just the definition of mid-range in the
Which
in
is
the format.
wild that a 2-mana 2/3 flyer screams mid-range in our format.
Yeah.
When like in any other format, if it was just a 2-mana 2/3 flyer, like you might think, oh, aggro or like aggro tempo.
But we do see it in an aggro shell as well.
Yeah, we can like the mono white shell. But I think those are the types of cards that you would typically see, or even cards that give you some flexibility. Cards like Prismatic Strands is a huge mid-range card because it just allows you to be able to fight the early aggressive decks, but that's a card you may not want against like a control deck though, right? Or it helps you fight, it helps you do weird combat stuff or things in combat. It's just a cool card that's seen in a lot of different mid-range decks, Cawgates, these blade decks, so on and so forth. I think those are really and one more is Squadron Hawk. I think Squadron Hawk is another huge mid-range player in the color white. It provides you card advantage. It does cool things with like Brainstorm, and it's just a cool card overall. It's a sweet one.
I'm going to add in white to Goliath Paladin.
Yeah,
just because
Or you get at that point, you can add in the Palace Sentinels as well,
Yeah,
some
and-
Monarch card.
with that too, when I think of like mid-range and white, I thought of that old Orzhov deck, not the Skyblade or the Glinthawk Blade deck that I really love, but even
Pestilence.
post Pestilence, pre
Pre or
Glint Blade, before
Sure.
Blade. There is that deck that was playing Vampire Sovereign, Dawnbringer Cleric.
Oh, like Ephemerate deck.
The Ephemerate package, exactly. I really think that Ephemerate package is very, very mid-range. I don't know if this is better served to go through the color pie first and me ask this question, or just to plop it right here after white. But I wonder if answering his question with another question would help suit this. More of like, what is mid-range?
Mm-hmm.
But why is Grimora? But why is mid-range?
Sure.
Or like, why is Pauper so slanted towards mid-range? And I think we did do a good job answering your question, funny enough, too, Chris, when we talked about Dark Ritual last episode. And like the answer to why Dark Ritual didn't see like a ton of play was because Pauper is so card advantage slanted.
Yeah.
So why is that, I guess, real quick, if you want me to ask that now?
Why is the format so mid-range slanted?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you've got to think we're talking about a specific power level of cards, right? And so the cards themselves cannot be beyond a threshold of something that they're able to do.
Like Monastery Mentor's too fast.
Yeah,
we
Monster
found
Mentor
that.
is way too...
Monastery Suspiria.
Thank you, Monastery Swiss.
I was like,
Monastery
Monster
Mentor
Mentor is an
would be
obscene
insane.
card.
yes, very mid-rangey.
Bandit,
Let's unearth that.
restricted and vintage cards broken. But yeah, Monastery Swiss Spear.
Yep.
It does a little too much.
All the
for-
glitters.
It does. Yeah, some of these cards just do a little too much for the power level of everything else going on.
So as like Pauper, yes, Kadoltha can be very quick. It's not Heartfire Hero, Monstrous Rage with Red Ley line in play. Okay, fling it at you, you're dead on turn 3 quick.
Right.
Like, more often, I don't know if Kadoltha has a turn 3 kill. I know Hot Dogs can kill you very quick. I think turn 2 even. But like,
there's a couple lines you can kill.
that is very, very inconsistent. And we have a lot of efficient removal. So your cardboard just has to do more. And I think why you can... Pauper tends to be more mid-range is you can commit more to the board and know you're not going to get hard Day of Judgment. Like, you will not get Wrath of God in Pauper. That does not exist. We have the
closest thing you're going to do is the Crypt Rats Clan Shaman with the toxin analysis.
That I guess that can board
That's the
like
closest thing you're going to get to Wrath of God.
And just be careful if you're playing against Grixis, then I guess, you know. But I think that's why it tends to lean that way, because there is a ceiling for how fast these red decks can be consistently, and we know we can commit to the board without getting Wrath of Godded. And if all your cardboard just comes with more cardboard, and if everybody's on that page, try to 2-for-1 each other and turn their Ichor Wellsprings into
Ancestral Recall.
Exactly.
With Deadly Disputes and stuff,
that's such a hard question. I'm trying to like just giving.
Well, that's why I think like going over like just the
Yeah.
specific cards gives you a better idea of like what the format is looking to do based on each color. So
Right, because
like-
the way that I interpret the question of what does mid range look like in Pauper, I think it's good. Like, what do the actual cards that form the mid range strategies is a good thing to go over. Like, we're kind of in the middle of white, or we'll move into blue shortly. I think that's a good way to tackle it. I also think of like what is the core tenet of mid range in this format. And like what is the idea of mid range here? Because it sounds like, Chris, you're struggling to kind of find how you want your mid range deck to slot into the format, and it's kind of ending up either on like maybe more of a control deck side, or it's getting out mid ranged by the existing mid range decks. Maybe if this is kind of the question you keep coming back to. That's my assumption. I could be totally wrong. Feel free to email and cuss me out if I am.
I don't think they'll do that. They seem really nice.
they do seem very nice. But I think that it comes down to, in this format, just like kind of what we said last week, what you're saying, Cameron, when we talked about the Dark Ritual episode of your card, every one of your cards needs to it needs to hold its weight. in these games that can be grindy, in these games like how many of your cards are 2-for-1s, either in dealing with 2 of your opponent's cards with 1 of your cards, or drawing 2 or 3 new cards off of your existing cards and continue to maintain that value. Just maintaining value on board and cards in hand, I think, is what mostly defines the mid-range decks in the format. And like, I threw out the joke of Icar Wellspring, but like, I think
it's not even a joke.
Right? No, I think that really is like the core key piece of all the mid-range decks is something like a Icar Wellspring, of something that you're going to get 2 cards out of it, potentially more, and it's something that it's something that works you into the mid to late game to be able to take over and maintain the advantage.
So I know when I first started playing the format, the very first deck I ever picked up when playing Pauper was this like Jeskai, quote, mid-range pile of cards. It had like Muldrifter, Core Skyfisher, Prophetic Prism, those type things, Counterspell, various cantrips or whatever. But like, that deck was just chock full of value. Like, everything just had value when it hit the table, like everything. And if it didn't have value, it was an efficient way to do something. Either an efficient way to draw a card, efficient way to remove a creature, something of that in that nature. So if it is not providing benefit once it has hit the table, it is probably not a mid-range card. Is that a fair assumption?
Yeah.
If it's not providing something upon entering the battlefield, it's not a mid-range card. Because something like the card Kuldotha, like, that's not a mid-range card.
No.
It's putting bodies into play, and that's what it does.
You might be going negative on cards too.
Yeah, you might. It depends. If you fit your own Great Furnace, you're down a card. That is negative tempo.
But in that regard, in the Kuldotha deck, Experimental Synthesizer,
that is a mid-range.
That is a mid-range card. That
Which
gets
is why,
to angle into their aggressive plan because it synergizes so well with their aggressive pieces. But it also is, you see some Grixis Affinity decks still playing Experimental Synthesizer, and Grixis Affinity I think is a great example. Like, might be the best mid-range deck in the format, honestly, of just like, here's more value.
I think getting a grasp of what mid-range is in Pauper, I think playing Grixis Affinity, whether or not it is your style of deck, it really comes down, it is a mid-range deck too. I think that is like a good teacher of, this is mid-range. Like, I put in these 2 Mirror Enforcers. I bring up this example a lot. The 2 Mirror Enforcers, maybe I double block and kill and trade into a Terror. On my turn, I play Blood Fountain, thank you. And I crack it and I pick up my 2 Mirror Enforcers and play them again. That's mid-range, baby. We're grinding. That Blood Fountain gave me a blood and picked up my 2 Mirror Enforcers. That is cardboard. I think Pauper is cardboard theory, the format. It really, really, really is. Huh?
Rectangle theory.
Yeah, I called it cardboard theory.
You do call it cardboard theory a lot, but it's
basically
the same thing.
I didn't know rectangle theory was a thing when I first said cardboard theory too. So
just does it provide you extra? Does it provide you extra value in some form or fashion?
Yeah, and I really like your point, Hippo, too. It's like in a mid-range format, like you look at, but yeah, I really like the point of like, how is this card replacing itself, or how is it impacting the board immediately? Mirror Enforcer doesn't do that.
The cards that go around Mirror Enforcer.
Exactly. Like,
because again, what's the idea of mid-range? It's a deck that can fill the idea of an aggressive role in certain situations and can fill the idea of a controlling role in certain situations. That's the definite quote definition of mid-range.
And you still need ways to just win the game.
Correct.
And some 0-mana 4/4s can certainly do that.
Yeah, I was like, you have a stack of 4/4s and like some 3/3 indestructible flying artifact.
Some 2/1 flyers that already got them to discard a card.
Yeah, and then you have like Kenku Artificers.
Yeah. In 4/4s block well.
4/4s block well. Indestructible flyers also block
really
well.
Yeah.
So that deck has ways to finish the game as well as being able to stabilize the game with those same kinds of threats. Like, those threats serve dual purposes as well.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
And I guess it just doesn't have to be how does this card replace itself, but also like building on that, how efficient it is too. Like, I think that's why Mirror Enforcer, yes, it doesn't replace itself, but it being a 2-mana 4/4 most of the times, or a lot of play patterns, you'll be like, all right, I have 3 mana, My Mirror Enforcer, my first one costs 2, my second one costs 1. Like, you see a lot of that, and it's just how efficient that body is makes it a good mid-range threat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like Jund in Modern, like Tarmogoyf.
Mm-hmm.
Tarmogoyf is the perfect example of the efficient mid-range threat.
Correct. And the same goes for all the white cards that I had just
Exactly.
aside from
tying
prismatic
it back to our like Wooburg
so
specific card examples. Yeah.
Those are efficient threats that cost like good amounts or cost good amounts of mana. They do a thing when they enter the battlefield or so on and so forth. And they provide you an advantage of some variety, and they get you ahead, and they are all decent threats on their own. Like, just they have their threatening things. Like one of my favorite things to do is an attack with a Core Skyfisher. I love attacking with the Core Skyfisher.
Mm-hmm.
So, but moving on to blue, this is probably the one color that lacks in this area a fair amount.
Recap white. What did we say for white?
The package.
The package. The package, basically. Is
Inspectors and Birds.
I think there's that package and then, like, Ephemerate package.
Sure.
And those are 2 ends of mid-range. Okay. Got you. I just wanted to recap my brain real quick.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so things in the blue realm of mid-range, you don't really have a ton. I think the most mid-rangey card is probably just like Murmuring Mystic.
Murmuring Mystic, like maybe Counterspell.
Counterspell is
like,
a mid-range
Counterspell
card.
just kind of goes in all the blue decks.
Technically. But you can say it's just like, does this provide something? It's providing something at an efficient cost.
Right. And blue has never really been a very mid-rangey color in general.
No.
Like, it's thematically trying to be like either more in the aggro tempo space or like all the way at the other end of
usually
like,
it is going to just support a color. Like,
so,
that's the idea, is it is a supporting color to whatever mid-range thing you're doing.
Why is Mirror Enforcer being a cheap 4/4 mid-rangey? Why is that? We call that a mid-range threat, but Tolarian Terror being a cheap 5/5
because they themselves are just threats. They don't have any sort of like attribution to an archetype style attributed to them. It's the deck around them that plays them. Like, you could play like the Terror decks that are like blue black and blue red are definitely still more of control decks, but they're way closer to a mid-range deck than the mono blue deck is. And so Terror can kind of play in that space too. It's just that Grixis Affinity itself is a mid-range deck, and Mirror Enforcer is one of your best, most efficient threats to play in.
I think I can give you the best blue mid-range card in the format.
Archaeomancer?
2 of the best mid-range.
That was my thought when you said Bowl Drifter. I'm like, oh,
the two that spring to mind are, one is, as I mentioned, Archaeomancer. That is a card that provides value and hits the board. Mm-hmm. And it is a threat. Like, that card is a threat because obviously it's built.
Existing,
it's built to a shell that works with the card.
Right.
Like, the Ephemerate is the number one card. Mm-hmm. Like, it's going to work well with Ephemerate. It's going to provide value. It can pick up removal spells. It can pick up counter spells. It can pick up whatever you draw or counter cantrips and stuff like that. So it has lots of utility. It does.
You can get to that in-game lock.
Yes, they're like that is, and it also is it feels great. But the other card is probably the Modern Age. I think that is another fantastic one. It provides value and enters the battlefield because it filters a card. Mm-hmm. It filters a card again, and then it's a 2/3 flyer. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's done. It's looked at, like, it's seen two different cards, gotten rid of 2 cards you don't want. And then now it's a 2/3 flyer that's just a good rate on for a 2-drop.
I can get behind that.
And then the last one I actually want to say is Spellstar Sprite is the last one. That is providing a threat that is good across the game. Yes, obviously you have to build some things around it, but there's like versions of the quote fairies deck that are
like the blue black.
The blue black, exactly.
Is,
so it's not like
much
devoted
to a mid range deck than a tempo.
Yeah, it's not devoted to playing the whole fairies package, but it is devoted to playing the best fairy, which is that one. Like, that's the best. Yeah. That is the reason to play the fairies deck, is to play Spellstar Sprite.
Right.
And the fact that it is a counter spell at various points in the game, depending on whatever the board state may be. Plus, it, things that go around it, like snap, like you're able to snap it back to your hand and replay it again. Like, that's just you're getting so much value out of this one card. It's insane. So I think those are some good blue mid-range cards.
I like that, yeah. And my last thought on the when I asked the question about Terror versus
Mirror Enforcer.
Yeah, I really liked your point about like the shell around it. Mm-hmm. in
Because you could build a mid-range Tolarian Terror deck.
Oh,
Yeah,
100%.
I mean,
Really
that's
good.
I think that's what the blue red,
and blue black are much
Yeah.
closer to.
Actually, I think blue red is probably the best
yeah,
definition of a mid range blue deck.
but
Like currently, like with terror
Yeah.
involved.
It's definitely on the control spectrum as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely. I think it's the
it
closest
has-
thing we have.
It has the games where you can get the terrors out in like turns, turn 3 or whatever, which is pretty good. But then you've got the other games where you don't get your caster terrors until like turn 6 or 7
Right.
because you've counterspelled and removal spelled things, but so on and so forth.
and like why we are like we call the mono blue more a tempo deck and not a mid range deck too. I think this is like a good like point to make on mid range versus tempo is that mono blue does not want the game to go as long as Grixis Affinity does.
Correct.
No.
So like mono blue is not built to play
cards.
this long
Cards
game.
like Thought Scour and Mental Note are not mid range cards.
No,
Those are
like
cards that are devoted to
Boomerang,
it. Those are cards
not
that
a
are,
mid-range card.
Those are cards that are devoted to a game plan.
Yeah,
And so if you're basing your deck around a game plan of putting terror into play, you're probably not a mid range deck.
Yeah.
You're playing quote inefficient things that help
Right.
another efficient threat.
like Force Spike, Spell Pierce, and Boomerang are all very much like we want to take control of the game over the first couple of turns, and then ideally we don't need these. We don't have to worry about these cards being bad in the end game because there isn't going to be like a late game. Like we're gonna slam a couple terrors and attack a bunch, and the game will be over before these cards are bad.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and I really can't, I guess, like stress enough on the partnership, the team up of Archaeomancer and Ephemerate plus XYZ instant or sorcery.
Yeah.
Counterspell, Thraben Charm, Lightning Bolt, whatever you feel like looping them out of.
Ephemerate itself.
Dust to dust against Affinity, whatever you want to kill them with. you know.
Yeah, the world is your oyster.
Yeah, like just those two are a match made in heaven for each other. I think that's like more towards the in-game mid-range state kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think blue mid-range decks can play stuff that isn't like necessarily mid-range. Like Counterspell, yes, it's mid-rangey, but it's like it is card disadvantage or like 1-for-1.
yeah.
But you can play these things because you're recouping the card advantage in other ways too.
Like mid-range decks of all various formats still just play like Lightning Bolt, Terminate.
And I guess Counterspell's a stand-in for that. Yes.
Exactly, yeah.
A 1-for-1 removal.
Yeah, you need to have some amount of this just gets the thing done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move over to the probably the king of the colors of mid range.
So I think there's a huge grouping of the best cards for mid-range,
Yes.
which is the Deadly Dispute effects. Like Deadly
all the
Dispute,
draw two, all the draw
Eviscerator's Insight, the one that makes a map token,
Fanatical
Fanatical Offering, Reckoner's
Bargain?
Reckoner's Bargains,
which
the gain
you
life.
gain life, how much the sacrifice thing cost.
Yeah.
Like I think Deadly Dispute is the best of the bunch, but they're all kind of situational.
I mean, well, Deadly Dispute, as we mentioned, as being the best one, it replaces itself on mana. So it's essentially one mana. It's essentially a 1 mana draw two.
Correct. Yeah.
essentially.
Making a treasure token for that effect is insane.
Yeah. And we've the card we've talked about that pairs with it nicely, and there are other cards, but is Ichor Wellspring. If you pair Ichor Wellspring plus Deadly Dispute, that is factually Ancestral Recall. Like that is what that is.
Mm-hmm.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You have paid 1 mana and you have drawn 3 cards.
Technically, you paid 3 mana because you do have to cast the Ichor
We're not
Wellspring.
talking about that. We're talking about the effect of that.
Yes,
like once it's
the
hit
turn
battle.
you do the Deadly Dispute.
That has you have Ancestral Recall. That is insane.
Yes.
So even at that rate, you've paid 3 mana and drawn 4 cards.
Right.
Assuming that you even want to count that, that's also still an insane rate.
And we see a lot of the play pattern. Okay, block your Tolarian Terror with whatever, Thraben Inspector, 4 damage, sack it to Deadly Dispute, draw 2 cards. Perfectly fine.
Or
Your
your opponent
Thraben
tries
Inspector.
to kill your creatures.
Sack it to Deadly Dispute.
Yep.
Whatever. Even if they try to kill your lands, sacrifice your lands to they go to blow up your lands. You sacrifice your lands to Deadly Dispute.
The
So on
artifact
so-
lands, yeah.
Yeah. No, all the draw 2 effects are good. Another card is Tithing Blade. I think that's another one because it goes with the package.
It being able to...
It itself can also end the game.
Yes, exactly. Well, it being able to get rid of multiple threats in theory, one piece of cardboard, not just by itself. You do need to pair it up, but like the package, that kind of stuff just works so well naturally together. So it potentially with 1 card killing 2 cards, a 2-for-1 is like very important. Classic black card I like to think of like. Oh, sorry, Thomas.
No, you're good. You're good. I was gonna say a new addition to the black suite as of this summer is Refurbished Familiar, which is a quintessential mid-range card where it's just a body that's going to come in and take a card out of their hand, or if they're hellbent, they're out of cards. You just draw a card. I finally had that happen on a league the other day. I've been testing out this sweet black red control list that Barf came up with, and I finally got to play a Refurbished Familiar when my opponent had 0 cards. I was like, whew.
Did you feel like the biggest brain?
I got a little treat.
Yeah,
and man, I feel that card alone is a really good reason why like the big down the resurgence. No, resurgence means going down, right?
The resurgence.
No, resurgence is
But
coming up.
what's the opposite of resurgence? There's a word I'm thinking of. Come on. Anybody?
Of the decrease?
There's like a fancy word for
recession?
recession. The big recession
we can
of
use that,
yeah, I'm using it. The big
Right?
recession of gardens. We have
Sure,
seen because it's
yeah.
just like if you're a control deck and someone plays a 2/1 flyer that you discard a card from, it already ate a card, that trigger's happening regardless, and now you have to kill it because it will kill you eventually. 2 damage across the board is quite a bit.
Please kill it so I can pick it back up with my blood fountain.
Exactly. And just stuff like it doesn't even feel good to kill, or they sack it and draw 2 with Deadly Dispute Rex we talked about. And it being that thought went away.
Well, to move on from that, the card I just mentioned, and I think is the reason that Grixis Affinity can even exist at this rate, is Blood Fountain. Like if that card did not exist, but I don't think that Grixis Affinity is nearly the powerhouse that it is currently. I don't think. Because at that point,
It just helps it win these.
It's like you're able. It's like you're able to buy back your 4/4s, buy back your Kinku Artificers, buy back your Refurbished Familiars, buy back your Krut Clan Shamans that you can again use with your Toxic Analysis to wrap the board.
Right,
So
and that's
there's,
not even to mention that it's 2 artifacts for a single black mana when you're
Yes.
trying to
And then
power out your affinity stuff.
Yeah, and then also it also filters a card because it makes you a blood token and so on and so
Yes.
forth. So it does a ton of work. And I don't think Grixis Affinity would be nearly the deck that it is without that card.
It gives it that longevity at the same time, giving you easily 4 affinity by turn 2. Like just artifact land, Blood Fountain. That's 4 artifacts, baby. You know what that equals? Ribbit.
Ribbit.
But I don't even think they play Ribbit that much
Not
anymore.
all the time.
Nope.
Not all the time.
Not efficient enough.
Are there other? Yeah. 0 mana 2/2s is just not good enough these days. Are there any other black cards specifically? Because we could talk about kill spells, but that kind of goes under the
Thorn of the Black
If-
Rose.
I was gonna say-
the Monarch creatures are huge. Yeah.
There's Monarch creatures
In
and
the
I think,
initiative, but
I
this
think-
is
I think
we're not there yet.
I think if we were to look at some older Pauper cards like Chittering Rats is a card that you would consider a mid-range card. It's a card that comes in, it rips a card out, it time walks your opponent. That's kind of essentially what it does. They essentially lose a draw step. Like they're just getting a card back that they already had in their hand.
Yeah, and it's just I think Refurbished Familiar kind of made that card
Yeah, kind of
look bad.
Yeah, now it does. Unless you're
Yeah.
looking for devotion purposes.
Oh, sorry. That thought I had about Refurbished Familiar. It's really hard for gardens to exist and such a mid-range powerhouse meta with Grixis Affinity because it doesn't play counter spells. It feels really bad when there's all of these Mold Drifter style cards going around and you have to cast down Refurbished Familiar. It is not fun.
Yep.
It's that's something you want to counterspell. You don't want to kill a Mold Drifter, literally Mold Drifter or Refurbished Familiar. You don't want to kill it off the stack. I guess. There we go. Sorry. The thought just appeared to me once you mentioned Chittering Rats again.
No. Yeah, I mean, I think black is just the best quote mid-range color in the format. I think that's pretty easy to say.
Yeah.
Basically, all that really relies on Deadly Dispute. I think Deadly Dispute's the best actual mid-range card in the format.
Yeah, I agree. Thorn, real quick too. Good for these mid-range decks. I think it is the door slammer in these mid-range decks, similar to the initiative creatures. Once you have the game winning, you're favored. You slam. We call them emblem creatures, so either an initiative creature, an emblem, or a monarch creature, and that slams the door shut. You're winning. Now you're for sure gonna win. You went from my opponent needs to break a couple times. I need to draw pretty good. You went from 60% to win this game to 80% to win this game once you got the monarch. You ran away with the game. You slammed the door. What comes after black?
Red.
Fire
we yeah, Fire Blast. Is this mid range?
I think the best card that we can just put here is Synthesizer.
I think
that's the card
experimental
that really
synthesizer for sure. The impulse effects I think you could include here as well, like Reckless Impulse and Ren's Resolve.
They do give the Kadoltha decks a more mid-range feel to them,
But certainly not as they're not as flexible in other shells that might care about artifacts like they do with Synthesizer and things like that.
I was like Synthesizer working with the package that makes it the ultimate mid-range card for red.
And we do have a Monarch creature too. We have the 5/2
Yeah.
Trample,
We do.
which does technically count as a Monarch creature, but that one's a little bit more fragile and wants to play in other types of decks.
It's so wild because I think right now I would say Pauper's very favored towards mid-range decks. And a year ago, or somewhat a year ago, I guess we haven't been around for a year yet.
Almost.
When we did like our top 5 favorite cards or whatever,
Yeah.
or like the
we
pillars
went
of the
through
format.
the top 10 or whatever, yeah.
Thomas, yours and I's was experimental
Our
synthesizer.
number 1 was Synthesizer.
Where's it at right now?
I don't know if I'd put it at number 1 now.
No, it's weird. It's like besides
Yeah.
mono red, like all of us have been fans of the Boro synthesizer deck before, or especially Hippo and I. You played synthesizer in your mono red deck all the time too. It's just like we don't see this Glint Hawk synthesizer package anymore. Like
No, the Boros decks are just like they just disappear.
They've basically essentially evaporated.
that seems
I think it,
rangy as crap.
I think it has a lot to do with the fact that those cards are all bad at killing terror.
That's
Every single one of those cards is nothing good at fighting into terror.
But
Yeah.
I guess that was my thought too, and it's just like
Yeah, like the package moved into Orzhov so they could Tithing Blade, and also because
I
like
guess-
Brood Scale gets thrown into the mix too, and that like makes it kind of awkward because they have to kind of pick and choose what to fight against, but they kind of need to be able to fight both at the same time. So I think that leans them into either sticking mono white and just being like white weenie and more aggressive, or if they want to be like doing the mid range plan, I think something like white black ends up being better because they have cast down and snuff out and Tithing Blades for
Then-
terrors. And
I think it's very important differential too that decks like Terror and decks like Broodscale require very specific answers and different answers at that.
exactly.
Tithing Blade not good against Broodscale.
right, exactly.
Very good against Terror. Snuff out still good against Terror, but like Cast Down less good against Terror.
Yes.
Versus good against a Broodscale deck. And you just can't choose when you're going to hit what removal spells with Experimental Synthesizer, and especially stuff like when your removal is Galvanic Blast and it costs 3 mana to target a terror and it doesn't even kill the terror. It's not a good feeling. Versus, like you said, it's moving into this black-white blade package deck,
Right.
where you can just play the Ichor Wellspring Deadly Dispute effects are good enough to give you card advantage. And it's funny, a lot of these black-white decks aren't even playing Ichor Wellspring anymore. It's just Deadly Dispute by itself is good enough when all your cards replace itself, like Thraben Inspector, like Glint Hawk, Tithing Blade getting picked up by Core Skyfisher, Glint Hawk, and all that stuff. So I think that's a very good reason why we don't see that deck as much anymore, even though when the threats line up well against Lightning Bolt, Galvanic Blast, I think the deck becomes good again. But Synthesizer not being able to choose what your cast is just awkward with a wide meta right now.
It's so funny because I just literally just pulled up a 5-0 list from today that was Boros Synthesizer.
Oh, I'm sure people still love
I'm
it.
sure,
Like, it's
yeah.
fun.
Again, I just think
God, it's
I
a
just-
drug.
I think, yeah. I mean, the deck, if the deck functions on all cylinders, it is a blast to play. Like I remember,
It's very good.
I remember one of the locals that I played Boros Synthesizer at, and I got to play against I think I played against Ponzo 3 different times that day. But there was a game. It was my first match I ever played against Carson. Actually, is that once the game got to a certain point, I was able to use like basically every single piece of mana on the table, like multiple turns in a row, and he's just bricking. Like he's just playing this green-red deck that just bricks a turn. So like
That was pre-Writhing Chrysalis.
yeah, well yeah. I mean this is a year plus ago.
Oh, I guess another reason why the deck doesn't see a ton of play anymore.
Yeah, it can't beat a Writhing Crystal. Well, yeah, it can't even beat a Writhing Crystal.
Yeah.
It's all of its threats can't beat. All of its threats cannot attack into it.
And all of its
all-
removal, except for Journey, doesn't really
Journey or
line
doesn't
Raven
kill
Charm.
and
or-
then
yeah.
Journey doesn't line against Terror or Broodscale either. So
Right.
there's
Yeah,
that.
it's just kind of a hard deck to play right now.
Yeah.
Still in red. I think Cleansing Wildfire and Ardent Elementalist
Ooh.
together.
Cleansing
you see
Wildfire
those.
is a really good call out, actually.
That's actually the perfect card because that works. Well, actually, that's in our friends. Our
Chris.
Yeah, it's in Chris's list.
It's in Chris's
right?
list as far as the Jund card or the Jund deck.
I think it's a
that's
very good mid-rangey card.
Yeah, I mean it essentially the function for that card is to put you up two cards.
Correct. Yeah.
Like you're getting a land out of the deal and you're getting a full card back out of the card you've just spent.
Yeah. If people don't know the trick, it's 2 mana. Destroy a non-basic land, its controller gets a basic, and then you draw a card. So you target your own indestructible artifact land, and you basically rampant growth and draw a card.
Very, very powerful.
Yeah, very cool. I know that card actually is the point of contention for artifact lands existing in the format. Mm-hmm. I know that is something
the PFP really likes that interaction.
They like that interaction, and there's a lot of Pauper players who do not like that interaction.
I think it's a cool interaction.
I think it's a cool interaction. And
I think it's cool because then you get to boomerang their tap land in response and just totally blow them out.
I don't think people dislike that interaction. I think people dislike
that interaction specifically because of how I think when Affinity is like the deck to beat.
I was going to say I think
that's
people
when people hate that. Hate that because other mid-range decks are also trying to fight with artifact lands.
I don't think people hate the interaction. I think they hate when a Tog kills them really quick or Disciple of Vault kills them really quick. And it's like, man, we have all these artifact lands, enable all this stuff.
I will say that Affinity isn't the usual lists of Affinity aren't even really playing the Cleansing Wildfire.
No,
it's more
they
so
don't.
the Jund Broodscale list that are playing
I was
Cleansing
say,
Wildfire.
Affinity doesn't
now.
play this card.
No. I'm just talking about
Yeah.
like other mid-range deck to fight Affinity or playing this type of card.
Yes.
Like, because they've got to get ahead somehow because they're not getting ahead on mana in the essential sense because, the Affinity deck is getting ahead on mana by, like, playing 0 mana 4/4s or, 1 mana 2/1 flyers that make people discard a card.
Right.
And the Jund decks, too, the Jund Broodskill decks have been moving away a little bit from this card. As of, like, last week, too. There weren't a ton of them playing it. I think they were playing more stuff like Lasterites, more protection and stuff like that. I do like this card in those decks.
Anyway.
The Jund decks, too.
I'm seeing a lot. I'm looking through all the 5.0s, and a bunch. They all have
As of
Wildfire.
last week's challenges, that's what I'm basing my statement off of.
I'm looking at 5.0s from, like, today and yesterday. Okay, yesterday there's one without.
Okay, I'm basing off of challenges that we read last week. But anyway, I like that card in that deck, though, because the deck is very mana hungry. At the same time, you need cards to work with. And I'm glad, like, it's kind of hard to talk about one color specifically because so many of the colors work together in these mid-range piles, especially Cleansing Wildfire. It allows a unique thing in Pauper with the bridges. Yes, it being Rampant Growth that draws a card is really good, but it plus the bridges allow for 3-color decks when that's really hard to make happen in Pauper when the format's fixing is just tap lands.
Tap lands or like Lord of the Rings cyclers.
Exactly. So like
which
this
still can really only get like tap lands. But.
And like this being able to ramp you, find you your color, and like stay up on cards and push you into the late game can let stuff like Jeskai Ephemerate or the Mardu Ratlock deck exist. And that's one thing I want to talk about Red 2 real quick is that, again, it's hard to talk about these cards these colors existing in their own color when a lot of the mid-range decks are just, we have this Ephemerate loop again in the Mardu deck with Ephemerate, Ardent Elementalist, and you can loop whatever you want to. And once you have that loop going, you can not only just loop instants and sorceries, but you can loop with Refurbished Familiar, and on your opponent's upkeep, Ephemerate your Refurbished Familiar, and you can lock them out of their draw step, not on their upkeep, on their draw step. Yeah. So they draw their card before they move to main phase 1. You can Ephemerate your Refurbished Familiar. Ephemerate goes to rebound. They discard the card they just drew. They pass a turn because they have nothing to do. You go to your turn, rebound trigger, hit your Ardent Elementalist, pick up your Ephemerate. You're right back where you started. Ephemerate Refurbished Familiar again on their draw step.
Yeah. After you get in for 2 with your rat.
Nah. Make them suffer. Deck them. Deck them. Do it.
Yeah, I think. Well, I mean, a lot of these mid-range decks obviously are not just singular color. It's lots of combinations of cards. And speaking of combinations of cards, one color that would not make it on its own is the last color is green.
'Cause I can't make it on my own.
Green is not a creative.
I am so
Because
sorry
my
for your
heart
ears
is
later.
in Ohio. Back to our serious endeavors.
So green.
So a color that definitely could not exist on its own.
Yeah. I will say a new helpful card from MH3 is Malevolent Rumble. I think Malevolent Rumble is an excellent choice.
Beautiful mid-range card.
Yeah, beautiful mid-range card. Helps it, has some splash in like helping the graveyard synergy stuff, but it provides value right away, gives you some mana, and I think people calling it Green Ponder for a reason.
The Malevolent
People
Rumble
by Matthew Centillis.
Do we call Avenging Hunter a mid-range card?
Yeah, it's a mid-range card. It's like fits well on the curve for green, and like is a thing that you're like playing towards.
Right.
Like
the initiative is just like incremental value up the wazoo,
which is what a mid-range card in theory would do.
Right.
Avenging Hunter sees play really in 2 decks. In Golgari Gardens and in the Gruul Monsters Cascade Land Destruction deck. And I think in the 2 decks, it plays widely different. In the Gardens deck, you play it as this game closer, as this door slammer. We're talking about, okay, they have no creatures in play. I have 2 removal spells in hand. It's time to play the game.
Doesn't matter if my 5/4 sticks around. All I need is the initiative.
Versus, I think Gruul Monsters, you're okay playing this back and forth game. It's like, yeah, you can peck me for 2 and take it back, but I'm going to swing in with my 6/3 Haster I just played and my 5/4 Avenging Hunter and my 6/5 Trampler. It's like, I will attack you back harder if you want to play this attack and back and forth game.
Right.
So they play very, very drastically in both decks. So I would say it's definitely more mid-rangey in the Gruul Cascade deck for sure.
Yes, I would agree. What other green cards could we include here?
I think of Writhing Chrysalis.
Right. I was going to say if we wanted to do some it's technically devoid. Yeah, I was going to say if there were any gold cards as well.
Red Blast or Blue Blast or whatever.
Correct. You cannot Blue Blast it.
As far as green cards,
it's weird. It's because we don't really think of green as very mid-rangey more than rampy.
I was like,
Right.
I was like a card that springs to mind, but it's
supporting.
doesn't. A couple cards that spring to mind but don't really see play anymore, are like. What is the 3 mana 2/2 comes into play, draws a card, taps down.
Llanowar Visionary.
Llanowar Visionary, that card, yes, Llanowar Visionary.
Sure,
I think that is a quote mid-range. I think it's a mid-range green card. Same as
the Eldrazi repurposer that
replaced
it in the Gruul
the 3
deck.
drops that used to be played in the all 3 drops that were played in the Ponza deck.
The cat, the 3/3 cat that makes a treasure.
Yes, from New Capenna, and then Eldrazi repurposer. I think is actually an actual mid-range card.
Right. Oh, things like do we count things like Lead the Stampede? You meet in a tavern.
I don't view those as mid-range. I don't view those as mid-range cards.
Okay.
I think because they're all. Those all,
but they don't really affect the board.
I was like,
they're just card draw.
I was like, they all function in similar styles of decks that are just creatures.
So
they're just creatures and nothing else.
It's just like card draw.
So why we
strictly card advantage as opposed to board presence leading to sustained card advantage / incremental value.
Again, I guess why do we call Deadly Dispute card advantage then, or mid-rangey and not Lead the Stampede? Because Elves definitely places the board, and Elves will incremental value out.
Deadly Dispute is providing you a treasure, so it's why we're including Malevolent Rumble on this list, because Malevolent Rumble is giving you value on the board.
And I guess I use Deadly Dispute as a stand-in for all 17 of those.
Yeah, they're
effects.
all
they all give you
they give you
something.
card advantage and value to work with on the board. You either get a treasure or a map, or you gain life,
or you get to use it out of your
you get to
graveyard.
use it later as flashback, so you get it access to it again. So that's probably the least of the bunch. If Eviscerator's Insight, the least of the bunch, strictly in if this is how we're defining a mid-rangey type of effect, that's probably the least of the bunch.
I think I think I would give it to the Reckoner's Bargain. I think the gain
That's
life.
fair.
I think the gain life is less impressive
I
than
can
the
get behind
flashback
that as well.
But I think those are so minute to the effect that you're getting. It's that's not why you play them. You play them for the cards, of course, And
there's also
yes,
okay.
and
Also, I do.
They're also much cheap. They're also
I've
much
got
more
I've got a
efficient,
way
too.
to break this.
Okay.
One is a guaranteed effect that you're guaranteed to get these 2 cards. You are not guaranteed to get however many cards out of these Winding Ways and lead the Stampedes. There was a game that I played, I think it was last week, where I cast like a lead the Stampede. So I spent 3 mana and picked up like a Birchler Ranger, and I'm like, that feels horrible. That is awful.
Yeah,
that is so like it was against you actually.
What were we playing?
We were playing at Dan's house. We were playing.
Oh yeah,
you were playing. You were playing my.
Oh,
Fog.
I mid-ranged you out of that game so hard.
You played my fog. You played my fog deck. But yeah, or I like played a lead the Stampede and drew 1 card. And I'm like, that's horrible.
Yeah.
You are
So
not
it's-
guaranteed those cards. You are
Right.
guaranteed the cards with a Deadly Dispute, because you're, again, the idea of putting the Winding Ways and lead the Stampedes is you're a very creature heavy deck. So you're obviously hoping to hit 3 to 4 to 5 creatures off of these,
right.
and not 1 card.
Right. Whether or not it's a guarantee or not, it is basically purely card draw and not affecting the board in any way. Where the Deadly Dispute effects, like at least Deadly Dispute and Fanatical Offering, are affecting the board in that they're giving you rectangles to do stuff with.
Again, and also it is a lot to do with the shell too. Like generally, these Deadly Dispute decks are going to have ways to interact that help you to have this mid range feel.
Yeah.
You don't feel like those just do not feel mid range.
I guess I'm uncomfortable with the idea it's not mid-rangey because it's not affecting the board, because neither does Experimental Synthesizer really. But
it's
more
literally going on the board for the decks that also care about artifacts.
That's true. But I think it's more like the shell built around it, like what Hippo just said. It's like you're not drawing into removal or anything. Like
Right.
You know.
That technically, that these cards are often card advantage because they're often like you're playing them in decks with a ton of creatures, but the decks themselves are not mid-range decks, and therefore these cards, in the context of the format, are therefore also not mid-range.
Is
cards
Elves not
by that
mid-range, I
definition.
guess, by that then?
You can certainly play it as there are ways to like
Elves
angle
is
it.
elves.
Elves is elves, and you can angle it in such a way where you end up playing like a mid-range deck, but you are like a combo aggro deck first and foremost.
Yeah, I agree with that. I guess.
Yeah.
That's
so
weird.
yes,
Elves is a
I
little weird.
I would personally not view the
Like the You Meet in a Tavern, Lead the Stampede, Winding Ways.
I would not view those
Okay.
as mid range
That's
cards.
fair. That's fair.
It's kind of funny too, because even like the ramp, the things we're ramping into with Gruul Cascade and stuff like that is like 2-for-1s. Like Annoyed Altasort is supposed to hit you another card. It's not just a 6/5 body. It also hits something else. And Avenging Hunter comes down with the emblem. The 6/3 haster dude cascades again. Like Writhing Chrysalis comes with 2 bodies and grows exponentially.
Writhing Chrysalis is pretty emblematic of this. I mean, it's
Not
literally
exponentially, but whatever.
the mid-range plan of the Brood Scale deck.
I mean, also like even it has shaken the format to a degree where even like the Gardens decks are splashed a color for it.
Yep.
And you've focused an entire game plan of these mid-range decks around putting spawns into play, and also you gave yourself the backup with the Brood Scale deck to put it in your deck, like in case you don't want to have it, or you can't combo, or you don't want to have a game where you do combo and you have this these gigantic spaghetti monsters in play.
Yeah.
So I think that card is definitely a huge mid-range card.
And then I guess artifacts wise, Acre Wellspring I think
Any
is
of
the best of the bunch.
any of the cantrip artifacts are all kind of in this vein.
Yeah. Lembus Candy Trail.
I think those 3 are probably the biggest ones.
Nile Spellbomb kind of does this, but it's much more like it's Relic too, in that they replace themselves in the card draw, but they're there to be hate pieces for graveyard decks, but they help play into the replacing themselves kind of plan.
I mean, you wouldn't play a Relic of Virginia's main deck. You would play a Nihil Spellbomb main deck but you only play it in like one deck. You only play it in Grixis Affinity because it is an artifact.
And that's if you think that there's going to be a lot of terror in this room.
Yeah, like main board in one deck.
Yeah,
basically.
put one in the main.
Because you're not at no point are you going to main deck Relic. You just expected a room full of dredge. And
Some people have done it though.
The
Some
Boral
people do it.
synth decks.
That was
They
also
did
at
it
a
for a
time,
little
that was at a
while.
time where people didn't understand how to fight terror. So
Well,
you stuck 4 of those in your deck.
That's how that deck beats terror, I guess, too.
Yeah,
It's just game 1.
which is
It's here's
not-
this on turn 1.
which is not even good. It's literally because you had that revelation playing the Bora side of that, and you're like, this isn't even good enough. I have to do this in the middle of before a cantrip resolves, for this to work and it actually do the thing I want it to do. So I just don't think it's very good.
No, it's not the end-all be-all. It's just a speed bump most of the time.
I was like, yeah.
But primarily the artifacts that give you value when they hit play, potentially do something with you either sacrifice them or I guess going back to a white card like Carrot Cake is technically included in this kind of range, but it's certainly not at the power level I think of something as simple and as flexible and able to go in as many decks as Ichor Wellspring. But things that give you value when you sacrifice, like Heaped Harvest. I guess that's a green card we could talk about. Heaped Harvest has been getting slotted into the Black-Green Gardens lists as well as just something that gives you value when it comes in, and when it sacrifices, you can get some more value off of it, et cetera, et cetera. So,
I would agree with that.
Yeah, that's. I think those are most, unless there are any other cards that come to mind for you guys. I think that's just like. Maybe going into some detail, maybe more detail than was necessary in terms of like specific cards, but
yeah, probably a little bit.
Maybe, but I think it's a good exercise to really like. Okay, then like if this is the case where this is what midrange means in our format, then how do you navigate like building your own midrange deck, navigating and playing against these known midrange decks? These are important questions to tackle, and I think that's where Chris. I think that's where Chris is coming from. Of like, I just really need to wrap my head around. What does this even mean? Because it does look different here than in other formats. It's not just so as cut and dry of like Lightning Bolt, Tarmogoyf, Liliana of the Veil Thoughtseize, like in like old school Jund and Modern, or like in Standard, just a pile of. Just the most efficient removal spells and best threats, and things like that.
I think the key to it being mid range is being just in this format, just flexibility.
Yeah,
I think that's the best word to like just overarching word that really sums it up. Is you being able to be flexible in whatever game plan that you need to execute. So in the case of like this Jund deck that we've got or that was sent into us, I think it fits the like green-red like monster side of the game plan, but also having that like really cool cleansing wildfire backup plan as your ramp package. Like that's really cool.
Yeah.
Like so you've like found like you're going over other mid-range decks like because you're just playing the bigger deck.
Correct. And you're not choosing to go with something like cleansing wildfire doesn't leave you vulnerable to like ramping with mana dorks or Utopia Sprawls on your lands.
And it also in that same deck, I know there were actual removal spells, whereas in like the like green red monsters deck, like you don't have those.
Right. Yeah.
So I think
like maybe you sideboard some bolts, but
I mean but we have like cast down and things like that.
Right.
So like having actual ways to answer other threats that like say you were played like a pseudo mirror and you played against the green red monsters deck, like you've got two Altasaurs looking at each other and you're like, well, I guess we're gonna be here for a while, or or Writhing Crystals or something.
Yeah.
So having like the removal spell like in that like pseudo mirror would be really helpful. But it also like that is a type of another one of those like bridge cards that's gonna like get you later into the game as the mid range deck, so that you can execute your game plan of being the big, like in this case, the ramp deck.
I guess if they said they were struggling, I think it's because I disagree with that. This Chris's deck from a while ago we're talking about, it was like that hybrid Jund list that Hippo was saying. I think a lot of other mid-range decks can go over the top of your Jund list, Chris, and I think that's why you like if you have been struggling with, that's why, because it's like I don't think Annoyed Altasaur like goes over like getting Rat locked out of the game or getting Jeskai Ephemerate, any of these Ephemerate loop blocks. I think that's like the end of the spectrum of mid-range, is like you are locked out, you can't resolve a spell, you can't get a card in your hand. Or versus like, if I don't think Glee is a mid-range deck at all, but it's like, okay, you kill my Writhing Chrysalis and stuff, I have a couple other ones, buy it back, remove late game, okay, I combo and kill you now. Or even with the ramp deck being like, you have like, Chris, you got the Cleansing Wildfire package, but the girl monsters still, like, if you don't have the Lightning Bolt, they can just go turn 1 Arbor Elf, and if you play a tap land, they go Utopia Sprawl, 4 mana Writhing Chrysalis, and now you have to decide to kill the Writhing Chrysalis, or do I give them 7 mana next turn to play Annoyed Altasaur?
No arguments here.
Yeah, so I think the deck is super sick, and this just like you might just be caught in this getting out mid-range by mid-range and getting out monsters by monsters kind of thing.
Yeah,
you just fit kind of precariously between the two camps.
Jund might have, and I think that's why the brood scale combo is like really cool for Jund, is because it can outrange the mid-range by killing them, and it outranges Ponza by, oh, you're not interacting with me, you're really dead then kind of thing. Right. So I think Jund in particular might struggle in this mid-range because it doesn't have like this ephemerate lock thing like we see, or I can't remember if they were playing like the Deadly Dispute Ichor Wellspring package or like
No.
Yeah.
No,
playing,
I have the list pulled up
good,
here.
good.
I don't know if they've updated it since, but some standout things to me. I know that you guys had called out that you liked the Dread Return package initially.
Oh,
I forgot about that.
That
was actually
that was sick.
I think it is sick. I think that could be a potential place to maybe make some room for some more consistency, something like a Deadly Dispute, Ichor Wellspring type of package. Chris is also playing a couple copies of Faithless Looting, which is, it's good to play into the Dread Return, but if you think about cutting some of the Dread Return stuff, like Faithless Looting is not getting you up on cards. Faithless Looting is technically card disadvantage.
Mm-hmm. Hey, you're down a card.
So, because you're down a card. And that is something that a mid-range deck doesn't really want to be doing. I think if you really want to lead into Dread Return and Faithless Looting, maybe you go all really into that and you play Trolls and Exhume and
then
maybe,
you're really just turning
and
into
then the Dredge deck.
And then no, you're not quite the Dredge deck, but you're kind of becoming your own type of more Reanimator mid range.
Got you.
Rather than trying to be this hybrid monsters mid range, you got to kind of pick and choose because your Dread Returns don't necessarily synergize 100% well with Boarding Party and Annoyed Altasaur because you're not going to get the Cascade triggers.
Writhing Chrysalis as well.
Right, and Writhing Crystal. These are all, and the Repurposer. Like, all of these creatures are getting cast triggers, which, yeah, they're big dudes to Dread Return, but you want to be thinking about how much value you're getting from every ounce, every little bit you can squeeze out of every card. And if you're Dread Returning something that's not going to have an immediate impact, like, that's why in even Legacy, like reanimating Troll of Khazad-dûn is so huge because it basically says unblockable. Like it's going to have a presence on the board. So, those are just some thoughts just looking at the list. Like I like the ramp into the Cascade spell stuff. I think that's very strong and Dread Return does have a lot of synergy by getting it into the yard, and you have all these spawns lying around. Like I know that's something that you guys called out when you talked about this list, and I think that that's still really cool. But that might be something to look at. Is maybe there's some wiggle room there. Maybe you can play Boarding Party still if your only ramp is Rumble Chrysalis Cleansing Wildfire. Maybe you can get away with the Boarding Parties, maybe not going all the way up to the Altasaur, and maybe look at some numbers there. I don't know. I don't want to turn this into nitpicking Chris's list.
Yeah. No.
But
I can maybe think about the cyclers
we like the list. The list is sweet. That's one of the cool things about Paupers. You can just kind of still brew something that, as long as you cover X amount of bases, your brew can do well and you can succeed.
Was Troll Oliphant in there?
No, there are no cyclers.
So maybe adding the cyclers in there too to help maybe fix, and also that's a good hit off Dread Return if you still want to be down that path too. Like I'd rather bring back a Oliphant or a Troll rather than
even Genericent
even rather over Boarding Party.
Or Altasaur. Yeah, I agree.
So there you go.
Cool.
We had thoughts.
Mid-range.
We had some thoughts. Some mid-range. Yeah, I mean, mid-range it's powerful. It's tricky.
I know we didn't really go over like multicolor cards as far as that was concerned.
Outside of Chrysalis,
outside of Chrysalis, but I think any multicolor card that does actually see play, the one card that comes to mind is Denrova Horror.
Oh, sure.
Again,
I haven't seen it in a while, but
But that's the kind of card. In that vein. Another card I would mention might be Mystical Teachings.
Yeah,
I think that is a style of card,
kind of a gold card,
kind of a gold card. But gold cards all tend to be pretty like mid-rangey style cards because they're having to dip into two different color camps to make themselves playable. So they're going to naturally find themselves in a mid-range shell. Yeah. So, yeah. Mid-range.
Yeah.
Would you like to head on over to the challenges from this past weekend?
I think I would. Thank you, Chris. We appreciate your email. And we appreciate that you enjoy the show. And,
thank you.
Let us know what you decide with your next. Oh, we also did see your most recent email, and I think that's a good idea. Maybe we'll take a look at Chris has sent us a suggestion to check out the Pauper Discord tournament results.
Yeah,
That's something we've talked about a couple times. We've mentioned it, our friend Jay, who we mentioned on the show. He competes in these as well, and I think Carson has in the past as well. It's something I've been meaning to.
Carson J. Matt.
Sick. That's something I've been meaning to also get into myself, because I am in that server. I just have yet to sign up to play one of the monthlies. So.
Welcome back, everybody.
Yeah. Hey, shall we get into these challenges?
Let's hit it. Yeah.
Cool. I think we're gonna blast through these. We've been chatting for a while this week, and
we're sick of each other.
We're just raw, and it's it's Tuesday.
No, I'm just hungry.
James is hungry.
Hangry.
So off we go. All right, we're looking at the Friday Pauper Challenge on November 1st. We got 59 players on a Friday challenge. No, you love to see it. In 8th place, Louise 0211 on Mono Red Coldotha. In 7th place, Nascimento on Jund Glee Combo. Only lost in the tournament in top 8.
No cleansing wildfire.
Oh, look at them. In 6th place, R. Clint 21 on Flickertron. In 5th place, Manu Hoff on Grixis Affinity. In 4th place, O Danielakos on their Demir Terror build. In 3rd place, Luffy Do Chapeau de Paula on Grixis Affinity. In 2nd place, Against on Mono Red Coldotha. And in 1st place with an 8-1 record, Out Zero on Blue Black Fairies.
Ooh.
We've got 1 Gurmag Angler, 1 Murmuring Mystic, full set of Agra Bolas, 3 Ninjas, just a whole bunch of blue-black stuff. 1 Extracted Confession, and 1 Arms of Hadar in the main.
This looks like kind of like classic blue black fairies, like what we knew 2 years ago, plus Murmuring Mystic now.
Plus a Murmuring Mystic, and a second one on the board as well. Yeah, just a smattering of good... they are playing a card I think is kind of sweet. 1 Mokutai Ambusher in the
card from
Neon Dynasty. Yeah, it's 3 in a black for an artifact creature, Rat Ninja. It's a 3/2 with lifelink. It has ninjutsu for 1 in the black.
Oh, just against some aggro deck if you're racing. Putting on some pressure.
Just 3/2 lifelink. Get in there.
So I know Arclint 21 has obviously had to come to the world of our Lord 2024 and has put Trespasser's Curse in the sideboard to beat the old Brute Scale deck. Yeah, it plays
That's cool.
3 copies of Trespasser's Curse.
That's very neat.
Again,
Trespasser's Curse is a very cool card.
We see RC Clint, always the one with the Flickertron whenever it pops up.
Well, this is the only mad lad still around to play.
Yeah. I do like the Stonehorn Dignitary. I can't remember if last time this deck popped up if they were playing this or not, but I enjoy a good Stonehorn Dignitary lock.
I had it in my sideboard.
Murmuring Mystic, yeah. Makes sense. A lot of decks are trying to attack right now, whether it's Brute Scale trying to attack you down or Fairies. Tellarian Terrors attack.
And I will shout out Luffy is still playing, at least this week, is still playing their 2 copies of Guildsworn Prowler, which is the 2-mana 2/1 Death Toucher.
Continues throughout the weekend.
Yeah, excellent. Any other standouts from this Friday challenge?
No, I'm good.
There was a Walls combo in 9th place. All right, in other news, November 2nd, the Pauper Challenge. We got 46 players in 8th place. Mr. Twin on Mono Red Coldotha. In 7th place, Discovern on Mono Blue Terror. In 6th place, shout out Kerblinski. Thanks, as always, for all the data. On Green Black Turbo Fog. In 5th place, Alienware on Mono Blue Terror. In 4th place, Ganja Dajanga on Elves.
They're playing green.
They're playing green. Let's go. My kind of people. In 3rd place, Capoeira 02 on Jund Glee Combo. Cameron's holding up a big fat 0 for the Cleansing Wildfire count. In 2nd place, Luffy Do Chapeau de Paula on Grixis Affinity. And in 1st place with a 7-2 record, Luminati on Mono Blue Terror. 3 out of 8 for Mono Blue Terror on Saturday. I'm a big fan. Luminati's winning list is similar to, it actually might be a carbon copy of the list that we called out last week that was interesting with the 2 nullifies in the board. We've got a Dragon Wings, an Artful Dodge,
Did they play,
and the Frantic Inventory.
Did they play a main deck Echoing Truth last week?
No, they may not have. So the Echoing Truth, of course, is one in a blue for the bounce spell, and it bounces everything with the same name.
What's that good for? I guess
sweet.
just like any go wide
goblin tokens. If you're,
I think it's just a nice, clean answer to a lot of stuff, random stuff.
Might be bounce spell, like bound creature might have some upside to it.
Mm-hmm.
I do like the one main board memory mistake. It's just really good in these Tolarian Terror mirrors.
Oh yeah,
if you can just
I have liked that a lot.
Diversify your threats.
I'm sorry, who gave you the idea to play Memory Mystic?
Derek.
Derek.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it was Derek.
Okay.
I cut a Cryptic Serpent to do it though, because I'm insane.
Yeah, that is a little insane.
But I mean, my logic was in the right place. Like, I don't want to draw. If I'm drawing snakes, I don't want to draw 2 Cryptic Serpents.
Cool.
Anything else y'all want to point out from Saturday?
I guess, what are these Judd and Brood-scale decks making room for? It looks like 2 energy refractors. They're still I guess, yeah, like I said earlier, it's just like making room for more protection spells and like Tameo Safekeeping or whatever your choice is there, and like Duress and Last Rites, making sure the way is clear rather than getting there, which is interesting.
The way is clear.
Yeah.
The light is good.
I do. It's interesting because I do like Cleansing Wildfire in my deck too, just like because it pushes the.
No one should.
It pushes that Writhing Chrysalis pressure. You know, it's like if I can play a Writhing Chrysalis on turn 3 and you have to blow a card or getting rid of that, and then I have mana for my combo now too. It's kind of cool. But if it's working, it's working.
Hell yeah. Tell me you're a theater kid without telling you. Let's go on to Sunday.
You were doing karaoke last weekend. I looked at Hana and I'm like, he is such a theater kid.
I am such
No, I meant
kid.
it in a good way though too, because you perform when you're up there. I love it.
I'm a performer.
He's a performer.
That's true.
I got up there and did my theater kid impression.
Your lineup was great. You had a great karaoke.
I mean,
lineup.
I had it. I had my lineup set for Halloween evening.
Yeah, it was excellent. Some scary monsters.
Psycho Killer.
Yeah.
Time Warp.
Yeah, we missed the Time Warp.
Pet Cemetery.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had
it was sick.
That wasn't even my whole lineup. I had more.
Ooh.
Had more to give.
Sunday, November 3rd. We've got 68 players, which means we've got 7 rounds of Swiss on this Sunday. In 8th place, Ivernop on Gruul Ramp. In 7th place, Carlin Haas on Gruul Panza. Gruul making a little comeback here a little bit. In 6th place, Jesus returned on Jund Glee Combo. Great usernames this weekend, fam.
No kidding.
Great usernames. In 5th place, GN42 playing Blue Black Fairies. Look at that. In 4th place, Walker 735 Jund Metalcraft. We're gonna come back to that one. In 3rd place, Illuminati making another top 4 here with Mono Blue Terror. In 2nd place, Ekaniz on Jund Glee Combo, and oh, this is why Derek was like, I think I want to play Dredge. In 1st place, Marzaboy with a 9-1 record on Dredge. This is labeled as Dredge Cat.
It's just Dredge.
It's just Dredge. Why is it called Dredge Cat?
I promise you, it's just Dredge.
No, I'm looking at it. I don't see like a Cauldron Familiar here. Like
there's not.
No, it's okay. It's just they've got 2 Acorn Harvest in the main, and then all the 4 of everything else. The Knot of the Bones are on the board.
So I think one big, not big, I mean, people have done it before, but I think one of the bigger reasons they probably had success with this, particularly in the finals matchup, is they have access to Brave Revelation.
Yes.
Huge card in that matchup. They also, I kind of went through their Twitter and found their conversations about the deck over the weekend, and the only reason they even brought it at all was they said there was no graveyard hate in the format at all. And he's like, I am going to ruin people's lives with this because they are not respecting the graveyard. And as he also mentioned that as soon as graveyard hate starts to appear, this will not be a thing.
Correct.
If people correct immediately, then this will not be a deck.
Yeah, that tends to be the case with the Dredge deck.
Yeah, as soon as people forget, as soon as people forget that they to pack any sort of graveyard hate, this deck will ruin a room or a challenge or whatever.
That's a classic.
It does happen.
This is partially why Derek saw this list and he's like, man, maybe I should just play Dredge. Why do I feel like Dredge would be really good? And I'd be like, well, the thing with the Magic Online results is that everyone is adapting very quickly to the meta, like like on a pretty consistent cycle, and so you can pick your spots. Whereas people showing up in paper, as much as a fair amount of people might just copy lists from Magic Online, a lot of people are just going to make sure they can cover all their bases in their board for a paper tournament, no matter what, because the paper metagame is not going to react as quickly as the online metagame, especially when not everyone in the room is as locked into the Pauper format as like we are, for instance.
Correct.
So that's something I've been trying to convince. Like, people will have relics, they will have spell bombs, they will have whatever to deal with your graveyard.
See, you say that, and then somebody shows up with Dredge and just runs the room because nobody did that.
I feel like we're pretty good about packing our hate. And because we know people who like to do that kind of stuff.
I mean, yeah, we have to tell ourselves every month, literally every single month, that we play our locals to pack something so that we can beat Hunter, or have a shot at beating Hunter.
This Jund Metalcraft list.
Let's look at this Jund Metalcraft list.
This is very kind of funny because we talk about Chris's Jund deck.
This is like I want to almost call this just like, this is what Affinity looks like. This is just
it's like Jund Affinity Gardens.
Yeah, this is a
basically.
really this is a donkey of a list, and it's awesome. I love what's
sick.
going on.
I'm just gonna read it off. You can look it up on the challenge, but I'm just gonna read it off. We got 4 refurbished familiars, 3 Crart Clan shamans, 2 Nyxborn Hydra, which I think is really cool, 4 Writhing Chrysalis, 1 Troll of Khazad-dûm, 2 Blood Fountain, which is very good, 4 Ichor Wellspring, 2 Lembas, 1 Nile Spellbomb in the main. Our spell suite is 4 Deadly Disputes, 1 Eviscerator's Insight, 4 Galvanic Blast, 2 Toxin Analysis to combo with your Crart Clan Shaman, 1 Pulse of Marasa. Pulse of Marasa, kind of a good mid-range call-out in green, which we didn't think about. 1 Suffocating Fumes, and 4 of the Cleansing Wildfire. So this is kind of like almost like a greatest hits of a lot of the cards we just talked about.
Don't forget your artifacts.
I did the artifacts.
You did always miss them.
Yeah, I did them in between the creatures and spells. Yes.
Can't pay attention.
No, it's okay. Well, technically, I didn't go over the artifacts that are in the land base. We got.
Well, I wasn't talking about those, but
they played bridges.
8 bridges.
No,
two black artifacts.
Okay.
Yeah, they played bridges for their cleansing wildfires.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. Who knows?
But this is kind of like a who's who of like a lot of the cards we talked about earlier in the episode.
So this is like Gardens, but with an affinity slant to it, which is kind of cool.
Garden Bug can kill you faster too.
Yeah, it's just a faster clock because
Yeah.
we play. I mean, this is probably a better Writhing Crystals deck. I think it's probably a better. I don't know. The Nyxborn Hydra gives me pause, I'll admit.
Well, if you put it on a refurbished familiar, it's pretty good.
I like
Put on a Cart
I
Clan
actually like
Shaman,
the
baby.
Cart Clan Shaman. That was what I popped in my head. Because that kind of does the thing where what I did with Crypt Rats is like, you pump you with your Basilisk Gate, and then you're able to just sack things to it and then not die immediately.
Yep.
So that's pretty neat and
That's
nifty.
pretty cool. Yeah, this is giving me similar vibes to the black red control list that I've been testing out and working on
what
with
I
Derek.
kind of thought of when I saw
Yeah,
this.
yeah. Which is if anyone saw it, I retweeted it on Twitter. It's Barf on Magic Online put it together, and it's kind of similar to this, like refurbished familiar Crart Clan Shaman stuff with Ichor Wellspring and Deadly Dispute, also playing Galvanic Blast, but this is leaning into like Cleansing Wildfire and the green cards to have like some other angles to go bigger a little faster, and it's not playing any of the Monarch creatures either. This is cool. This is really sick. Green also gives you access to a couple of Weather the Storm in the sideboard, which is important for certain matchups. Full set of Duress in the board. Yeah, this is really sick.
No, it's a very interesting list.
Like
It's cool.
I think like these styles of mid-range deck that are like taking the best parts of Affinity and the best parts of Gardens and kind of smushing them together. I think that's really strong right now because you can play the longer games that are good against other mid-range decks and good against Terror, and you have the parts that are good against the aggressive decks as well that can like spot removal the like white weenie type aggro decks. You can toxin analysis, Karkland Shaman, your opponent's Koldotha board. It covers a lot of ground.
You're just playing like your own refurbished familiars and like stuff like, I guess, rather than Chrysalis Gardens plays as well. It just gives you game against like opposing refurbished familiars. You're not just a dog to those kind of decks that want to recur them and all that fun stuff too.
Something that's neat in the black-red list that we're playing is it plays around with Campfire too, as a way to just loop your whole graveyard back in so that you can really win a long game against these like decks that are like this or like Gardens.
Someone tries to stream a Thought You for Xaxes too. Just
it feels so good. Let me tell you.
And just Campfire
cool.
can put a wrench in that.
Yeah. That's really cool. Any other notes from the Sunday challenge?
No notes.
No.
Do it.
All right. Cool.
Wrap it up.
I think so.
If you made it this far, thank you so much for listening. Leave us a review. We'd appreciate that a lot. You can leave that on Spotify. I think you can leave comments down on Spotify. They made it pretty easy now. They think they got a good system down. So leave us a review. Give us your thoughts, all that fun stuff. 5 stars. You can do that on Apple Podcasts too. Tell your friends. Yeah. Tell your local Pauper play group and local Cube group, because we can't shut our mouth about Cube too. If you have any questions for us, Pauper related, life related, advice related, send them to us at commongroundmtgpod@gmail.com. That'll be in the description, as well as our Twitter handles again, and the game nights registration and all that fun stuff too. Go ahead and sign up and play some trios. If you need some partners, need to get connected to some people to talk about that, shoot us an email. Join Nashville MTG.
Any of us would be happy to help. Try and find you somebody
for sure
to team with.
And look ahead to our own Pauper event, January 18th. More details to come.
Yeah.
That is super exciting. I'm very excited to do some commentary on that. It's been too long.
And links to various cubes this episode, too.
Oh, yes.
Sorry, Spencer, if you shut it off.
Called out.
Oh, I guarantee you he won't even listen to this episode.
No, he can fast forward. We won't title it Cube.
I
he's
wasn't talking about
temporarily
that. He's
retired from
he's just
Magic.
like, I'm on a break.
Which is probably good.
He
went very hard.
He did tell me, he goes, if there's something you think I would enjoy listening to, let me know.
Got you. He went very hard for a very long time. It's hard not to burn yourself out after that.
Correct.
Well,
Love you,
so
buddy.
much for listening, fam.
Yeah.
Later, everyone.
Peace out. Remember that my heart is in Ohio. So close my eyes so I can fall asleep tonight.
You really don't want this on the
Tonight.
podcast.
Because you kill me.
Okay, we're recording a podcast. Come on now.
This is for Thomas. Hey,
Good
I'm having
Lord.
fun here.
I might leave it in. You don't know.
Yeah, I'm having fun.
Not at those levels, you won't be.
Oh yeah, we
Not with
love
those
it here.
Christ.
Look at him hating
Donkey!
Mr. Fun Police over here.
Brutal.
Stop smiling.
Trying to keep us on
We're
track.
recording a podcast.